Are you feeling stuck? Maybe you don't know which way to go at all, or maybe you are already moving, but you feel like you're not making progress and you're considering pivoting. Or maybe neither of those applies to you and you just don't know why you feel stuck. Today, on this episode of Whole Mom Revolution podcast, we are going to talk about just that. Now, on our last episode, we talked about that feeling of stuckness and how it might not actually be actual stuckness. But today I want to talk about what if none of those things apply and you're still feeling stuck? Maybe you need to rediscover or redefine where you're going because sometimes we really just don't know where to go, and that's why we're stuck. It's not that we're paralyzed by the anxiety of the what ifs, and it's not that, we're moving, but we're not making progress fast enough. We are just at a standstill and we don't know which thing to choose, which thing to pursue. So, we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you can decide what might be the direction that God is calling you in. And now, I want to clarify that direction is what we're referring to and not destination. So many people, myself included, get hung up on this. Well, I'll be happy once I get to XYZ, whether that's a certain amount of money per month, whether that's a certain status in life, a certain zip code that they want to live in, a type of house, a type of car, relationship status, a number on the scale, whatever it is. So many people get caught up in that. Well, once I have this, once I achieve this, once I become this, I will be happy. But I am here to tell you that wherever you go, there you are. Have you ever heard that one? And honestly, it's so true. And it doesn't mean that you should just flat out forget everything and be like, well, then I just got to be happy where I'm at and stay here and just deal with it. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not talking about a discontentment where you're like, I got to hustle, I got to hurry and get to. I'm talking about being content where the Lord has you right now, but realizing that you're not meant to stay there. We are meant to grow and change. We can see this all throughout nature. God has designed this world where everything is kind of like a reflection of everything else. And as we can see, nothing is meant to stay the same. Everything changes, so do we. And we are meant to, and we are meant to grow. So, upon doing that, we need to understand what that's going to look like for us. So, I want to tell you some tips that were really helpful for me when I was trying to figure out what direction I wanted to go in. And before I figured this out, I felt stuck. And I felt stuck to the tune of about 11 and a half years. And not in a bad way all around. I'm not talking about stuck in every area of life, stagnant, just like bleh. I'm talking about I felt like I loved my life. I loved being home with my children, but we needed to bring in some more finances, right? Or I was going to be faced with going back to work and I did not want to leave my babies. I actually did for a short time, almost a year total. I had to go back to work and it was awful. It was the worst year of my life. And I don't want any other mom to have to deal with that if they want to be able to stay home with their babies, if that's where their heart is. So that's what I'm doing here at the Whole Mom Revolution podcast and over in my free group on Facebook, Whole Mom Revolution. I am helping moms get their mindset right, get belief in themselves so they can start creating the life that they want on their terms without sacrificing what matters most. And a lot of times that involves creating financial freedom, right? Or if it's not a business, maybe it's a ministry. So I want to talk to you about how you can figure out what path to take because sometimes I really believe that inside of us is the answer already, that we have seeds that God planted inside of us that we just need to discover and start watering them and start following those clues and heading towards the calling that God has placed upon our heart. So, we're going to talk about that today. And there are a couple things you can look at in doing so. So, one of the things that you can look at is parts of your life that have given you clues. Now, there are two different sides to this. You can look at the painful past, which is maybe things or something that you have gone through that you learned a lesson from, that you changed from, that you ultimately became a better person from, that you can help someone else with. Or you can look at something that you're really, really passionate about or really, really good at. You're getting a lot of compliments around, and people are always saying, like, oh my goodness, how do you do that? That is amazing, yada, yada, yada. So, those are the two things I want you to take a look at today. First, we're going to talk about the painful past part. This is going to, again, can look different for everyone, and everyone does have parts of their past that is painful, some more than others. But it's not to always say that this is definitely going to be where you're going to find your calling. This can be a lot of times where you're going to find your calling. Have you ever heard it say, from your test comes your testimony? And that's a big thing for a lot of people. A lot of people have been through a really tough point in their life. They've been dealt a hard hand, they choose to, rewrite their story, because a lot of times when you go through something tough in life, you can choose to say, like, man, this really broke me. This really messed me up. And if we keep telling ourselves that story over and over again, we are going to live with that limiting belief, and we're not going to be able to get anywhere in life. We're going to walk around miserable, and we're going to walk around suffering. But pain does not have to equal suffering. So if we can take that pain and give it a purpose and use it as fuel to give us, use that pain to give us power and to ignite a passion in us that wants to help others either avoid that pain altogether, or those who already went through the similar pain, help them to cope with it how you've coped with it. So that's one thing I want you to start thinking about is there something in your past that you've made it through, that looking back, you can see in hindsight God's hand in your life. You can see in hindsight that you were able to survive that, and it was rough and it was tough, but ultimately you came out stronger and wiser for that. And maybe you have a passion to tell people your testimony and how you made it through that. That is really, really powerful. And helping someone avoid pain or recover from their pain is a really powerful way to connect with someone. And if that could be your target audience, if that is the path you choose to take, we can talk more about this in another podcast, but right now we're just talking about specifically how to find your path if you're feeling stuck and you don't know which way to go. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is your passion. Now, the Japanese have a term that they call ikigai, and I hope I said it right. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Obviously, I'm not Japanese, so sorry if I did pronounce that wrong. But they have this term called ikigai, and it's basically the purpose of living. That's what they call it. And it's where four things intersect: your passion, which is what you love, your purpose, which is what you're good at or what you have a natural inclination, talent towards, what people would pay for, and what the market needs or what people need. I believe those are the four. And so, if you can find something that intersects those four things, wow, you are going to have it made in the shade. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but just think about how fulfilling it would be to wake up every day knowing that you're doing something that you love, you're serving others from a place of from your heart, you're truly giving value, and you're able to pay your bills. I mean, how crazy cool is that, right? So I want you to start thinking about where your passions lie. It could be a hobby, it could be a gifting, a talent. Perhaps you have a natural inclination to serve and you love serving others by preparing food or hospitality. Perhaps you like to create, sew or crochet or create beautiful works of art. Maybe you have a gift of speaking or of writing. Perhaps you are a really great baker or a chef, and people are always complimenting you and begging you to bring your famous dish to their next potluck. I don't know what it is. Okay, maybe you're great at creating homeschool lessons for your kids, or you came up with this innovative new way to create a garden in a very small space. There is a market for everything out there. If you have something you are super passionate about and super amazing at, there, I can guarantee you there will be a market out there. There's a market for something called underwater basket weaving. Look it up. I cannot make this stuff up. This is insane. You, if you have a talent and you have a passion for something, there is a market out there. You just need to find your people. If you have 100 true fans, there's a book called Raving Fans or something like that. If you have 100 raving fans, 100 true fans, that's really all you need to make your way in the world. It's absolutely crazy. So I just want you to start thinking of that. Where do you find yourself spending a lot of time? What do you do, or what would you do all day if money weren't an object? You weren't even getting paid for it anyway, but money weren't an object and you didn't have to, put down what you love to go earn a living and you could just do what you actually love. What would that be? I want you to start thinking of that. And if you need some inspiration, if you need to figure out how you can monetize some of these talents, skills, passions, hobbies, whatever they are, hop on over to my free moms group. Like I said, Whole Mom Revolution. It's on Facebook. It's a free group. You can join. We can brainstorm together. I would love to help you come up with a way to monetize your passion. I know that you can do this. I am doing this. I've helped other moms do this. You absolutely can do this. You have to believe in yourself, though. That is the golden thread that runs through all of this. You have to believe in yourself. I believe in you, and you can borrow my belief until you grow some of your own, okay? But I know that you can do this. I am here for you every step along the way. I hope this was helpful for you. I can go further in depth in another podcast if you want me to. Please leave me a comment or send me a message and let me know what you'd like to hear more about. And we are going to talk so much more about this and all the other things in the future. I'm going to be talking all about how to believe in yourself again, or maybe for the first time. And we are going to do this thing together. I am so happy you are here. And I hope you have a wonderful day. If you know a mom that this would bless, please share it with her. Until the next episode, I'll see you. God bless.